Welcome to Totally Awesome Fishing, where hopefully I'm going to show you how to make your fishing floats. Let's face it, we've all lost floats up the trees, in the bushes, fences, sting nettles, brambles, everywhere. It's not cheap losing these floats, but you can save yourself some money by making them yourself. Easy to make? Well, I think so, it's just time. What's the base cost? Feathers, that's all you need. Let's get on with it. So now, before anybody starts kicking off that I'm going out shooting a load of birds, I'm not. I'm merely walking along, picking these feathers up. I happen to be down a beach. I walk along the beach, which is a reserve, lots of different birds. You can get lots of different feathers, right up to these really big ones. What? Do you know what? I don't even know what bird this is off. Some sort of goose, Canada goose or something like that. But the quill from here, the rigid stem, is really good for making a big heavy float for carp. And these smaller white feathers, forget the white, it's the size of that stem that matters. I'm going to snip that down, show you how to peel this back, and then I'm going to paint them up, and I'm pretty sure, because I've done it years ago when I was young, make some floats out of these. They cost you nothing. Don't get any cheaper than that, does it? Now, I'm no expert about making floats, fishing floats out of these feathers, but I've done it before when I was a youngster, and I'm going to do it now. These are different types of birds, these two obviously. I don't know whether that's a goose or swan. That one's obviously something like a big goose feather. But depending where that bird lives, in the wetlands or whether it's up in the inland, it's probably going to have varying degrees of fatty deposits up inside here, or like oil, because the oil feeds through into the feathers and it obviously keeps them waterproof, which is what you want if you're a seabird. So that makes them pretty buoyant. So that's the type of thing when I picked these up, I thought, right, seabirds, these are going to make really good floats. There's going to be a high oil content, hopefully, in them. So what you got to do first is strip off. I'm probably going to pay a price having it all over this pool table, but you just take, pinching your fingers here, you can see them. We actually tie flies with the same stuff like this, and you can peel them carefully back, stripping them along the feather as you go, just like that. Now you're going to take a little bit of the edge of the feather as well, of the stem. You can't help that. You know, the different birds have got different. Oh, there we go. That was a nice one. That pulled right off. Strip that right back. Get all the loose fluffy bits off it. Don't want to peel too much off. Now I'm going to cut that one there, and I'll cut it here. That should make probably a good tension. I'm going to snip it just about there, and then this side just about there. Okay, so that makes me one, I'm going to call that a quill. Now what you also might see from this is that if you cut a slant on that, just a chamfer with say a Stanley knife or a craft blade, and it's hollowed inside, you push up a paper clip, this is the same pen that they dip into ink and then can write on, just like this. They just can write across. That's how they used to write years ago, when they used to have what's called scribes, which were people that did the writing, and they're scribing or writing. So it's the same sort of thing that would be used as a quill, but they dry these out a bit more. Same with this one. I just like to loosen those a little bit, just peel them carefully back. In fact, the other way you can do it, I have heard, is by cutting, but I find, by pulling them off, stripping them down like this, much easier. Okay, I've got I'm going to call that a roach float, and I will indeed catch a roach on that when it's all made as a float. This long one is going to be a really good one for fishing heavier baits, and probably going to take a swan shot or more to actually sort of cock it. And I'm going to leave it very long, and leave it about, what's that, good 9 inches. I'm going to snip it off here, just that, nice and neat, because I'm going to put an eye on that, a ring, and then just take a piece of sandpaper, because sometimes it's a little bit rough there. Some bits of feathers are left, and you can get all those rough bits off there. That's it, it's nice and smooth. You can also roll it like this. That's often a good way. Wouldn't do it too hard or too coarse, because you actually over-dip it, you can overcook it. I'm just trying to get rid of the surface bits of feather that might be stuck to either of those two. That one's okay. So there's my base of my float. The thin end is going to be the bottom. and the fat end is going to be the top, and it's going to sit there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to whip an eyelet onto the bottom end of these two. Okay, now I've got to make an eyelet to go on the bottom of this. So what I'm using is a paper clip, just a thin paper clip. I'm going to open it right out, the wire, straighten it up like this. So I've got a straight piece of wire. You can get varying degrees of paper clips, and this one seems to be quite a fine wire one. Okay, then I'm going to make, after I've straightened it, I'm going to bend it around this screwdriver. It's just a nice small screwdriver to make a circle, an overlapping circle like this, nice and tight. That's going to be my eyelet there. As you can see that, slide it out, and then all that remains for me to do is to just, where that opens up there, I just squeeze that down, tuck those in nice and neat, put a little kink in them. And you can see that like this, you can see the kink, and that is going to fit on the end there, and then I'm going to whip it right over the top. So cut this other one off here, equidistant. Probably use this as a scissors, to be honest. Hold both sides, do not cut your fingers. Pop, it's done. I'll just squeeze those together again, just to get a sort of a good idea how they're going to go. And it's going to go on the end like this. Now, where those feathers have been peeled off, this is circular. That's left a flat edge there and a flat edge there. That is absolutely, it's almost square to be honest, but that's perfect for whipping this eyelet on. So, okay, what you do is you get your whipping silk like this, you cut off maybe 4 inches and just get it equidistant so it's making a loop like this, and get both your tag ends level. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that down ready. I've already got them level, and I'm going to tape on my my eyelet just there. Now make sure that the circle or the ring is butted up, just butted up in there. If you can see that in there, so it's nice and tight. Get yourself a bit of sellotape, break it off, and you're gonna tape on just down here, just at the very tip. Now this is a fiddle, I'm gonna have to change hands to do this. I can't work back to front. Just to hold it in position. Like that, there you go. Now that's held in position. Now I just roll it between my fingers. So you peel the sellotape off the end, and then you can finish wrapping those touching turns all the way down till you get to the end of the wire, and then you run it over the wire itself, right over the tag end. And I've still got the loose tag end of that tying silk to finish off. I'm going to go right up the stalk here, right down the stem of the feather. Now I've covered the paper clip there, so what I'm going to do is just snip this little tag end off. The ring's in place. Snip that one off. That goes, this tag end goes through that loop I've made, and then I pull on these two, the two loose tag ends, and that'll all slide down nice and tight, and it just pulls this, the tag end, it just tucks it up underneath the whipping, just like this. Just wiggle it and pull it away, and then you can snip everything off, and it's ready pretty well for painting. I could nip it a little bit neater than that, but you can see now, there's my ring, made from a paper clip. Now, you can seal these, some people like to seal them, but I'm only going to be using this just the once to show you. So I'm going to start painting this. I'll probably put that as matte black paint there, a yellow ring, and just to give me a marker, and then maybe 3/4 of an inch, half to 3/4 of an inch of, say, red tip or yellow tip. So next bit's the fun bit. There you go. What I'll do is I'm painting all over all the whippings. There, give it a sort of a second coat. The first one's soaked in already. All the way up over the top of this. And you will never probably buy a plastic float again. Once you caught a fish on one of these, you'll be very, very impressed and very satisfied, mostly because you've made it yourself and it's cost you nothing, absolutely nothing. Now I'm going to leave that tip like up here. Now what you were saying is he's painted himself into a corner. No, if you notice, those of you with astute observation, I haven't actually done that. I've got myself a pair of mole grips and I've pre-adjusted them using a little nut on the back so that they just grip down here, that eyelet, and I can then leave it down there to dry. Any surplus runs down here and it's only going to go onto the whippings. But if you think I'm leaving it on my pool table, no. Piece of newspaper. In fact, I won't even leave it on the newspaper on the pool table, it might go through. But let's get the other one done, and that'll be 2 floats. One will obviously take more shot than the other, and fingers crossed we'll put the painting caps on top and float rubbers and go fishing. So here's the second float. Now you'll notice I've cut the end of this one, so what I'm going to do is just blob a piece of paint in there because there will be air in there. But this is a different bird. It's not like a goose quill. I'm not quite sure what this one is, but start your painting. I go over the whippings first. All helps seal it up, helps keep any water or moisture out there. I've already got it on my fingers. I'm pretty lethal painting, folks, I have to say. Can go absolutely anywhere. I might have the first black and green pool table. So you can see now this one I know for a fact will be ideal for roach. This one will be a good roach float. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get as far as my fingers are, and I'm going to get another pair of mole grips, and that will enable me to hold it by the bottom end on this ring just here, and then I can finish painting off there and hopefully won't get it all up my fingers. So then, here we go. I've adjusted the mole grips, click them in. That frees up my other hand and I can pop a little blob of paint right down the hole at the top where I've cut that feather down. There we go. That makes an airtight seal of it. I can tell you I'm going to catch some roach on this. Absolutely going to catch some roach. Can't wait to get fishing. So there they are. Those two are ready. Going to leave them there, and when they're tacky enough, we'll do the red paint caps on the top. Right, so these are dried off, these two here. So what I'm going to do now, a little bit of red on the top, I think. And then what I do when I paint these, that you only want about barely an inch, and give it a good old coating, because you can always cut it in later to make it neat. And the thing with red is it's probably quite good against a light colour background, whereas if you've got this darker red against a dark background, you'll probably have trouble seeing the float. And in contrast, if you do make a series of these floats, there, let's come up nice and neat. Look. If you do paint, you can paint that white, and you can fish that against, let's say, a dark background. It will stand out more. You can see there the red sort of blends in with the black a little bit. So if that was in a dark, shadowy area, you probably wouldn't see it properly. So that's one done. Oops. Let's just get that one another touch up. And I'm going to put one, what I call marker ring, in paint just around the base of that red. So that one's done. I'm just going to give a little short pippy bit to the, I'm going to call this one the roach float. I feel absolutely sure that this will be ideal for roach. And all I'm going to do is mark a little yellow band around that. So there you go. You know, as the saying is now, all you need to do is add water. Okay, we're here at Watmore Farm Fishery just to see if I can catch anything at all on the float. Mike's with me, so it's going to be float versus link ledger. It's very, very, very windy, but just going to be using hot dog segments over a base of the trusty old ground bait mix of bread and bran. But here's a little tip: when you open the tin up,
Two things: don't cut your fingers on it, and do not waste that lovely, lovely juice in there, because that all smells of the hot dogs. And if you tip that into your ground bait before you throw it out, mix it all up, slop it all around, throw it in. Any fish moving through the swim can smell the hot dog, and then there we go. We'll cut that in very thin little slices. I've also got some worms I'm going to try for this float fishing as well. So Mike will be using 2 of these, not whole ones, no. 2 of these about that big, about 1 inch long, usual size. See if he can pick a carp up, and I'll see if I can catch anything at all on the float. Okay, we've got the bait in, guys, we're all set. Got Mike set up here with the 2 link ledger rods. They're both out there, so bites could come anytime. And here is the goose quill float. Now that looks different, doesn't it? I've got a little white band on it. I've painted the top from red to orange because I thought it might stand out a little bit better, and I gave it another coat of like a varnish. Now I've got locking shot either side of it there. It takes 2 BB and a swan shot, and I'll tell you what, it cocks it perfectly. Now the reason I've got it with locking shot and bottom end only is so that I can sink it. Look, that sits there absolutely perfectly. Do you know what? If I don't catch a fish, I'm happy with that. Having made that float, that's absolutely perfect. Now all that remains now is I'm going to plumb the depth, and then on goes the bait. And I'll tell you what I am also going to do. I'm going to get a little, like a number 8 shot, something just here, just because of this wind we might get some drag, just to pin that bait to the bottom. Okay, the smaller float I made, which I guess is something like a swan quill, exactly the same. Got the ring at the bottom. Now I've got this with a rubber band. I've got it with a valve rubber at the top. So this one's called top and bottom. It's fixed both ends at the top and the bottom, because I'm only going to be putting this right underneath the rod top. So I'm just literally going down there with it, but I'm going to plumb the depth first to get it right. This one takes a tiny shot, even smaller than a BB, and there's my plumb weight, which I use to set the depth. And if it does get right, I don't see any reason why I can't catch a roach or something close in on this on worm bait. I'm not going to use a big bait, just lower it down. Look at that, it's perfect. That's just under the rod top, and that's a tiny shot on there. Let's get a worm on there and get fishing. Oh, there we go, on the little roach float. Let's hope it's a roach, otherwise I'd look really stupid. There we go. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, I'm really pleased with that. Homemade float, a homemade roach float, and what have we caught? Oh, a fine grand roach it is too. Beautiful colours in it, look at that one. Now these will get better and better through the winter, get in better condition, but that one took a little piece of worm. There it is, tiny piece of worm, look, just there. Couldn't ask for better. Homemade roach float, it works. Now, am I going to get anything on the big float? And of course, I'm now 1 and up. Nothing on the ledger. There we go again. Oh, a little bit bigger, touch bigger. The roach float is pounding out the roach. There's the fish. Just a tad bigger. Let me show you. This float, I mean, it takes barely any shot. It's a lot smaller. Let me show you. Look, it's a lot smaller. A load smaller, but it's also thinner. But do you know what? I think that's got a different content of fat in it. I think that might be a bird that doesn't have a higher oil content, because I've got one tiny shot on there, and that's all I've got. Here's a different one. It's now not a roach float, it's a rudd float. There's a little rudd there. You can always tell the rudd because the bottom jaw, there, the bottom jaw protrudes above the top jaw. If I put it up the right way, there, like that. So that's a nice little rudd. So it's now a roach and a rudd float. Oh, just like giving up. I put the jacket on, it's freezing cold now. Sun's just going. So was the rod. The rod was coming out the rest. Please don't come off. This is a monster on our homemade float. Come on. Do you know what I did? I changed over then. I changed over to bread because I was fishing close with the roach float. We got, I don't know, half dozen small fish there. Oh, come on. I'm going to keep away from those other ledger rods. These are the ledger rods that haven't caught anything. Mind you, I haven't yet either. I shouldn't laugh. Come on. Never have a man wanted to fish so badly. Or pulled so hard. Oh, I can see the float there. Beautiful. It's got to be a carp. Got to be a carp. And other anglers are now chartering helicopters up there, as you can hear in the background, trying to spot what bait, totally awesome, are using. Little do they know, it's a goose quill of some description from the seaside. I tell you, these Watmore fish, I don't know what batteries they put in them, but they are not, they're just not normal. There's something wrong. I mean, that's a good bend in an Avon rod. I just want to see this fish because I don't know how big it is. But I was fishing away for the roach, as I was saying earlier, while I fight this fish, because they don't come in easy at Watmore. And lots of little bites on the bread, and I missed a few. They were not carp, they were a roach, but they seem to like the bread better. Oh, this is going well, this fish is... Come on. So I changed over to a big chunk of bread flake. It lasted, well, barely 60 seconds. Mike saw the float go under. I saw the rod coming off the rest. Good God, this fish is going. I just want to see it. I want to see how big it is. Come on. I'm not sure whether I'm more worried about losing the fish or losing my float now, because it's got personal now, this float. Spend a lot of time on it. Oh, I see it now. Yeah, it's a nice common. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm going to take it first time. I'm not going to mess around. Get in there. Oh, he's only just gone in the net. That is a chunky fish. Oh yeah, that's going to be 6, 7 plus. And on the float. So I'm sorry, but the ledgers aren't even worth, well, they're not even worth using. Let's check this one out on the map. Yeah. Oh, look. There it is, bottom end only, bit tangled now. I love that little float now. I shall probably take it to bed with me. Lovely common. £7, something like that, 6 or 7 pounds. But what satisfaction to get roach on the roach float, carp on the now carp float. Let's get it back. I want to catch another one.
Right guys, we're getting near 6 o'clock now. As usual at Watmore, they're turning on again, switching on. A nice take from this one then.
Oh no, 2 at once.
Double hookup.
2 at once.
Again.
Oh no. Is he still on?
He's still on, yeah. Trying to grab the rod here.
Is that what you're going to do now?
Getting out the weeds.
Oh yeah, double. He's in the weeds, that one.
Yeah, they're both going towards each other.
Okay,
We might have to switch off in a minute.
Yeah, just to show you, he's actually got 2 carps hooked at the same time there. Both hooked up, one after the other.
Yeah.
Let's get the float rods out of the way and we get back, we get organised.
Right, just going to net this one here.
I'd leave the net in the water for the next one.
Yeah, nice mirror I think.
Yeah, net the second one, Mike. Do 2 at once.
Right,
We're going to try and do 2 at once now, folks. It's never been done before. Well, it has by us. Here he comes. Leave the net in the water. Yeah. We might get lucky. We might get totally awesome. Oh, what?
It's a production line.
That's a production line. That's 2 carp at once. Yeah. Don't tell me our methods don't work, guys. A mirror and a common. Let's get them on the mat. Oh, he's gone straight away. Let's whiz back and get the common. God dear. That was a bit of totally awesome excitement. Now, let's see if I can get this one recovered. Yeah, he's fine. They're always fine in the cold water. Man, he's going to be gone. There he is. Just let him recover a second, and gently away he goes. Guys, we're getting clustered, what we call a cluster. Trying to get rods in, rods out. The bloody roach float's gone mad again. I don't even know where this one's gone. I'm going to have to put it between my legs, play it like this until I can get cleared out the way. They've just gone crackers, the carp. And this one's not a big fish, but it's on the float, which is even more. And you know what that brings us back to? It could be 2 all, guys. It could be 2 all. Not a big fish. It's not a very big fish, but it's on that roach float. It just goes to show you how they move in. On the swim, I thought it was a big crucian to start with. No, that's a nice little common. In fact, I can probably unhook this one here. He says hopefully without even bothering to take it out. There, the hook's out. Thank God for barbless. There's a little carpy on the roach float, and that's just what we need. I'm going to put him straight back because there's a chance of a lunker.
Right guys, time's about 6:15. Barely got the rods back in the water. We had a bit of a tangle from that double hookup, and we just had one on the ledgering rods, and it absolutely steamed away.
Nearly took the rod in.
Halfway across the lake, nice bend in that rod.
I'd ease that pressure a bit, just give him a little bit less pressure. There's a drag, all set, we're all set, yeah?
Yeah, drag's fine.
Yeah, that's a good bend. This could be a good fish.
It's got some strength in it. Took me halfway across the lake. Only just putting a jacket on, had to take it off again.
But he's got the lucky jacket.
Yeah, got to have the lucky jacket.
You've got to have the lucky jacket, it's got to have this writing on it. Otherwise you won't catch. Wouldn't surprise me if this is a nice fish.
Nah, yeah, just switch on in those last hour, the last probably 40 minutes I'd say. We've had a lot more activity, the bubbles on the top of the water, floats going under. We've missed a good few takes with the floats going under, chatting away, as you do. But we've been switched on the last 15 minutes. We've had the double hook up, and we've got another one on here.
He's going to run again.
Which is taking me all over the place.
As long as he stays in the middle, that's the main thing. We don't want to go around a rush.
He's a nice fish though.
Good fish, is he?
Yeah, it's a nice one.
Just ease him right. Oh no, he's okay, he's okay. Nice common.
Oh, it's a good fish, guys. Good fish. Looks around the £9 mark.
That's a nice fish.
It's got a nice lot of weight in this net. What a fight as well.
Mat time. Check it out.
Let's get him on the mat and have a look. That's a good looking fish as well.
Could be close, you know. Could
Nice,
be close.
healthy fish.
That's close.
Alright guys, here we go. 0 to scales. We're clear. And we're looking at, oh, just shy of £10. 9.10.
9.10. That'll do.
9.10.
That'll do.
But a nice looking fish, and my biggest fish at Watmore Farm actually.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah,
My
yeah,
biggest
yeah.
fish, so let's have a look.
Looks like ledger
Nice
came good in the end.
scales, yeah.
That's a nice look at that one. Yeah.
Look at the scales on it. Get that off.
That is
There
a
we
nice
go,
looking.
guys.
Move that. Oh yeah, crackerjack fish that one, and
Nice
a bloody
fish.
really good scrapper. Really good scrapper.
We're going to get a still of this one as well. What a beauty. Nice tail as well.
Yeah, I think that's what makes them so strong here.
Yeah. Totally awesome, guys.
Shows it works. And you know what? Ledger's beaten float
It
by
has.
one. I mean, it's a good one.
Oh, nearly fell in myself. Switch. Right guys, we just had a smashing take, absolute carnage. I just got the jacket on because it's getting cold. Dad's got a fish on here. I went to strike a little bit too hard on the second one. I've taken the bait alarms with me.
And he went out in the
around
lake
here like a submarine, but luckily I hooked them as I striked. So we've got our bait alarms back.
I think they're totally buggered. We'll have to dry them with hair dryers.
Yeah.
It's still going.
And I got a bit of the bottom as well.
Thank God he got all those bite alarms back.
But we do have a fish on still.
We still got a fish. Just when we thought it was all over, it's not.
Right, I'll put those face down.
It's where you've got to be really careful on keeping an eye on everything, because you could easily lose a rod at this place. We've had just like, I can't tell you, carnage fishing for like 40 minutes now. But I've got to be honest, in 40 years fishing, I've never seen anybody strike so hard that they tear both buzzers out the ground and fire them off into the lake. But tell you what, it's better than not missing the fish. Come on, it's a digger, it's another digger. It's just gone absolutely manic. And guys, the change was quite subtle. It's the time, but we changed to bread, we went back to bread, and I've no idea why. I've got no excuse, I can't tell you. Oh, it's digging away, this one. But there's no question, it's made a huge difference by just changing over to bread. And although I'm playing a fish on this rod, it's Mike's rod, and the ledger rod's coming into their own big time now. That's probably because it's getting dark, I can't see the float. That's my excuse. Oh, it's a nice fish. It's another nice fish. Come on, fish. But I'm still going to start making a few more of those floats because it's so enjoyable. Oh, this fish. I need a fighting harness in a minute. I've got a feeling this is 7-8 pounds. No, he's bigger. He's bigger. He's bigger. He's holding. Not going to mess around. I'm just going to try and get this one straight in the net. There's no such thing as straight in the net with a Watmore fish. Oh, it's a nice fish. It is a nice looking fish. No, I can't put any more pressure on that. The tips. Oh, that's it right over. Come on. Surely it's going to give in a minute. Does not want to give up at all. Get in. I can't even get him in the net. Oh, get it. He's in. Oh, 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 oh. Ladies, I think this one is a double. Let's go and check this out for, well, we've got some light. That's okay, at 0. I'm going to get Mike's telephone here. Thank God for telephones. And just get a weight reading on this. Oh yeah, he's there. 12 pounds 10. And we nearly lost the buzzers as well. There you go. I don't know if you can see it in the light of Mike's camera. Yeah,
Mike's phone there. 12.10, a double right at the last minute. Mike just missed a double. What a session. And all we're doing is coming to show you homemade floats work. I don't know, we're going to get another cast in. I don't think so. Let's get it back.